Hi, I'm Graham Richardson-Locke, FESPA's Head of Associations and Technical Lead. I'm very pleased to be joining you all today for the second of the new FESPA Innovations and Trends virtual events, where we'll see the latest product launches in the printed clothing print community. So let's get started with this opening session, where I'm pleased to put my questions on some key trends affecting the sector to our panel. So firstly, I'd like to welcome Samir Sadikoglu, owner of Bursafir Textile AS in Turkey. Following 24 years at the family business ETF Textile, he's formed his new venture, contract screen printing for sportswear and fashion manufacturers. He also owns Grit3.com, his e-commerce brand. We're also fortunate to be joined by Raitis Pirins, head of marketing at Printful, whose head office is in Latvia. Printful is an on-demand fulfillment company that offers e-commerce warehousing and custom print and embroidery product dropshipping services for online retailers. It operates production sites in Europe and North America, and with a team of 1,800 staff achieving sales of over $200 million in 2020, and recently became the first unicorn, valuation above $1 billion, with Latvian roots. Finally, today we're joined by Mark Gervais, Director of Screen Print at Ningbo Shenzhou Knitting Company from Shenzhou, China. Mark has been screen printing since 1977 and has directed the huge capacity of Ningbo since 2009. Like me, Mark is a proud member of the Academy of Screen and Digital Printing Technologies. So can you please tell us a little bit about yourselves? Writers, maybe you can start.
Hey everyone. So nice to join the event. So pretty great. I probably can't be proud of the expertise of other ones joining the team. So I've been part of the Printful's company and be familiar with the DTG just for less than 5 years. But like one of the things you have to realize that if with 3D printing, our business model wouldn't be even possible. So everything what we do is with DTG on demand, and that allows anyone basically to start their own e-commerce store, and that's what we are striving for globally. Thanks for the intro.
Awesome. Samir, would you like to tell us a bit more about you?
Thank you, Graham. I'm very honored to be here today and share the panel with all of you. Being in the industry for more than 25 years by now, we see the changes. We see the changes coming from digital, sometimes mixture of digital and traditional printing. And we try to keep up to date with what's happening and give the best of the world, both worlds, to all clients. So having the possibility to share what we have done until now, that's my pleasure. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. And finally, Mark, let's hear a bit about maybe where you're from originally and where you've been living and what you're doing.
Sure, thanks, Graham, and I appreciate the invitation to join today with the colleagues here and speak about some technologies. So, yeah, I kind of grew up on the West Coast and did a lot of printing for the surf and skate industry. Started out doing circuit boards. But in 2005, I moved to Asia, and I've been here ever since. It's a pleasure to share information today and share our experiences and information and knowledge about screen print and digital and how it works together and where we're finding opportunities. We all have different sectors that we service, some overlap, but I think it'll be a very interesting dialogue today. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our questions for today that will allow you, our audience, to understand perspectives on the trends that are impacting on this sector. So the first question is, COVID-19 has accelerated changes across many sectors. What will be your key focus over the next 12 months? And what has been the biggest lesson from living through the pandemic? I think, Mark, I'm going to ask you to go first on this one.
Well, we're still living through the pandemic. I mean, really, we're still encountering it. We had an outbreak a couple weeks ago in Cambodia. It still continues to be a threat in some of our areas. It's been interesting. We've been doing a lot of virtual training, a lot of virtual factory tours. We've found some new resources to share information and work with our customers, do product orientation, innovation, and things like that. Um, we continue to partner with the brands and service them. It's been difficult for them working from home, but we've all found new opportunities to be creative in the way that we work and do things together. Um, and we also look for some new opportunities with local business. For a while there, we saw a drop in sales from some of the bigger brands, but we were also able to secure some local business and entertain that opportunity.
And just for people who don't know the scale of Ningbo, how many printers are you running?
It's crazy in scale. I mean, we've got 75 automatic machines here in China. We've got 15 hybrid machines. We can produce anywhere from 750,000 to 850,000 pieces a day. I mean, the volumes are just huge. And then we have a big operation in Cambodia and also in Vietnam, but it's large volume. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Rightis, so you're in the digital side. So I think before we move on to Samir, it would be really useful to contrast Mark's response with yours.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we are probably, I don't know if it's correct to use word fortunate to be in e-commerce working. So at one point when the COVID hits, there was basically a roller coaster ride. It was going down. We didn't understand when this drop of the sales will stop. And then it turned around and we started going up and up because people understand, okay, this is to stay, and the habits changed. So what they previously bought maybe offline, they started to buy that online. So, and we have the challenge to basically, with the limited capacity in our facilities, because we have to keep our employees safe, the social distancing, everything have to be in place. We have to survive basically peak, which usually we get for a couple of weekends, November, December, basically for a couple of months. Huge increase of demand, and at one point you have to wait. For example, in USA, 2 months actually see the T-shirt from our company, and we try to scale up as possible, as much as we could with any resource possible. And as a marketer, I'm a head of marketing. So what we had to do, we had to set up expectations for the customers when you actually receive the order. And for a couple of months to catch up with the backlog, we have to do anti-marketing. So basically, we have to make sure that our team get less orders. So we get back to normal SLAs faster, quicker. So that was the goal. And because of that, I want to say that last year, despite the pandemic, we opened more fulfillment center in Canada and Spain. And this year and upcoming months, our goal is to basically increase our capacity that can fulfill any demand needed. So we already announced plans that we will open facility in Dallas, another one in the USA, move to the bigger one in California. And and there's more upcoming news. We have plans also to expand to the UK and increase general capacity. So my team don't have to do anti-marketing. So we can actually provide a service to everyone who wants that.
Okay, great, thank you. Samir, so you're based in Turkey. What's been your experience? What's your kind of key focus, and what do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned to date?
The last year, when the pandemic started, there was a shock for everyone. We all were hearing order cancellations, delays, postpones, and stuff like that. And of course, that was a couple of months. Actually, it started in March and it continued until the beginning of the summer. But then when the people, they start going out and the shops, they start to return, and the customers, they start buying and purchasing the goods. Because of these cancellations, there was a lack of material and the products on the shops. So the rush started there. It was interesting because in Turkey, part of our production is fast fashion, for fast fashion industries, mostly. So it started with the rush orders and all the new fulfilling orders. So that's how it continued, even though the demand was less than it was previous year. Again, it gets stabilized somehow. And now we are getting prepared for the new comeback with this new beginning of the summer. Looks like everybody is missing that physical shopping. So looks like the demand will be high, and everybody is looking forward to go to the stores, touch the material, and having the possibility to purchase that online and offline. So that's what we are getting prepared. We are getting prepared for fast response and quick turnarounds.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our second question today. It's clear that screen printing still offers customers a great deal of value in volume production and product enhancements with special effects. How do you see the opportunity for digital print on demand at scale with huge design libraries affecting the popularity of screen printing amongst brands? Mark, I think given the volume that you're producing for brands, I think this is best targeted at you for the first answer.
Yeah, I think some of that application with digital offering, like you say, design libraries and direct to consumer and things like that. I think there's certainly a share of the market that can take advantage of that. In our market, with our business models and things like that, we're just really looking to bring digital together with screen print. So as you talk about screen from the special effects, we're just trying to bring those two technologies together. It's very interesting that hybrid relies on screen print and screen print can rely on the hybrid. So I'm not really sure. I mean, we've entertained these customization, personalization, fully digital solutions where people can go in and do body scan and then customized garment to the fit, the different trims, the different graphics, the different locations. So I think for us, it's still evolving. We're seeing some opportunities, but we haven't jumped in yet into that DTG arena or purely digital. So we're still relying on the opportunities that we see with screen and digital together.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I've looked at that. So the body scan, like things like Zozo, the Zozo suit brand, who I think the business ended up ceasing trading. But I personally have looked at a couple of the kind of customization where you body map to get the perfect fit of garment and using smartphone tech. And I think it's early days. Frankly, the body scan dimensions that came up when I did it were slightly scary. So I think it's definitely definitely in the future. Maybe I've just been eating too much. I'm not sure. But I know tomorrow Debbie McKeegan will be covering more of the kind of full custom digitized workflow of make on demand. So that'd be interesting. Okay, and I think of course screen print. Some of the special effects available through screen print, I find it very hard to believe we'll ever see them go through an inkjet head. So things like reflective beads and some of the very coarse materials that can be deposited through screen, I think long will stay in that offering, won't they?
I think once the speeds come up on that 3D digital printing, I mean, if they can print sintered metals through a digital print head, they're not going to be a piezo type head. It might be another type of a nozzle, another type of a print head. But I think you're going to start to see merging technologies into a single digital solution. So maybe more like industrial nozzle
like additive
applications.
manufacturing.
Yeah. I think that's the evolution. I mean, that's kind of where I see it, where it could evolve. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Samir, so you're actually, you have a foot in both camps. You have an e-commerce brand and you have screen print. So what's your view on the pressure of digital on screen, and how do you see it?
I think that the most important thing is to understand the customer and the client that you are giving a service for. We are receiving from time to time specs, graphic information sheets, or artworks where it's written it needs to be digital. It needs to be printed digital. Sometimes it's because the environment concern. Sometimes it's because the graphic designers that are not maybe pure aware of the possibility of traditional versus digital. So actually, since the design itself, or the print itself, actually, the print on the apparel is not only the solution of graphic design or the method. I think it needs to be somehow combined. The best combination and the possibility to bring the advantage of digital to the artwork on the garment will make the change. Today, as I said, we are receiving an orders which can very easily be made with traditional methods, but they're requested to be printed digitally, even it's in a very high volume. So that's actually it's a kind of conflict. Looking from on the e-commerce point of view, what we are doing in our facility is that we are printing in the range of not tens, but in range of hundreds. So in range of hundreds, again, screen printing is advantageous when compared to digital, cost-wise and actually quality-wise, because you try to add some special effects on the garments. So, except on-demand printing, personalized and customized, for now in our industry, digital printing has still room to go, room to develop, speed-wise, quality-wise, or special effect-wise. We are just seeing the lenticular prints coming out from the DTGs right now. Have you seen that?
I've actually only seen lenticular from screen, and that's amazing enough. So no, I need to see this. Okay, Rightus, let's hear from you.
Yeah, it was great comments from the colleagues. The one thing I have to mention that without print on demand, with DTG printing, it's basically the only way how we were able to launch a business. With screen printing, wouldn't be ever possible to provide that low cost per single item, because our business are made that you can actually purchase one item and you don't have to invest a lot of money in bulk, and basically you can start your business with minimum investment, so you don't have to do anything. So that's the magic of DTG. So one-offs, and there's you can create a great argument why you should go with screen printing. Colleagues already mentioned that it's about bulk. It's about some things you can't do with DTG, and in some cases as well the quality maybe. But recently, in recent years, DTG printers they are working on that to actually catch up with the quality, and I'm sure that, and then I know maybe a couple of years, decades, it will happen. But the one thing DTG can offer is personalization. So and that any item you sell in your store is actually unique. You can add your own name or whatever you wish, and that's opportunity larger brands can actually take opportunity to use to offer to their customers. So that's, I believe, is the number one argument. And the second one is speed to market. how quickly you can actually offer new designs. You can actually just publish a product and next day it can start printing. With on demand, it's possible. And if you want, you can offer 100 or 1,000 different designs. With screen printing, a little bit more challenging as far as I know. Maybe colleagues can comment a little bit more on that. But those are two points on DTG.
I think DTG, if you're starting a brand and you're drop shipping, DTG can be a great way for market testing. For you can either stick with that track of drop shipping on an ongoing basis, and yes, you'll sacrifice some margin as the brand owner for the convenience of having someone else doing all the work for you. But it's kind of there are lots of useful points to it, aren't there? That if you're starting, I've worked with a number of sort of micro brands that wanted just to test design and see how the market would respond to some of their ideas, and DTG was a perfect solution in that use case. And in some of those cases, we'd kind of do the priming with DTG, and then we'd go on to screening for a larger production volumes when we'd established the value in the designs and the product. So yeah, a very powerful combination of processes and tools available to us all. Okay, we'll move on to our third question, and that's direct-to-garment printing offers a market entry at many points, from sort of low investment, low volume to high investment industrial production on cotton, blends, and now polyester. Is it now essential to have automated workflows and online stores to remain profitable and meet customers' expectations? Rightis, I think this is probably a good one for you to kick off on.
So my idea, some people say, how did we come the idea about Printful, and who are responsible for that? I'm saying that we are Printful is a bunch of developers, so minds of IT who learn how to print something on a T-shirt. So basically, they invest a lot of in optimization, so they don't have to leave their computers to actually print something on a T-shirt using IT mind. So I believe it's for us to offer that low cost, low price for one print, for one product. It's necessary for you to invest in optimization as much as you can, for you to provide, actually to get some profit from that one item you offer to the customers. So it's extremely important. Without that, our business also wouldn't be in the valuation you gave during the intro for my company as well.
Okay, cool. And I think Samir and Mark, I think that with screen print, we have different requirements for automation in workflow, but nonetheless, with the kind of development of computer to screen, workflows are still of paramount importance in cost reduction and efficiency. How do you feel about this question? Mark, perhaps you'd like to answer first.
Yeah, I think, we were maybe a late comer to the digital to screen arena, but that offers huge advantages as to not so much automate the workflow, but definitely make the workflow much more efficient in terms of cost savings of film storage and processing and chemistry and hazardous waste. So that's been huge. And then also because of the accuracy of those machines, we're able to locate images onto the screen subsequent to the tooling. So our changeovers and setups are rapid. I mean, it's from an hour down to minutes. So we've seen huge advantages there. So I wouldn't say it's so much an automated workflow, but it's definitely a much more efficient workflow. And then, of course, we've been adopting robotics for unloading and optical inspection equipment on the robots. So typically somebody who's unloading the machine would be inspecting the print. So now we're looking into having that done through camera vision image recognition software. So it's all digital. I mean, I think there's a lot of companies right now with a big crusade for digitalization, and that means a lot of things to a lot of different people. So, when we talk about digital, it's not always the printer. It's information. It's the information flow. So that's
Yeah,
my bit there.
I agree. I think there's often a kind of characterization of screen printing as being analog, and in my experience over 35 years, you couldn't produce screen printed garments without layers and layers of digital workflow. So it's more complicated than sometimes it's reported to be. Samir, what would be your view on this one?
I definitely agree what Mark says. Plus, I think that we should add one more thing, a very important thing. There's a room for digital to go. We have a sampling procedure when we discuss manufacturing for high volume companies, especially the worldwide well-known sporting brands. There's a possibility of having the sample somehow printed digitally, so they can show this to their buyers and then purchase according to that to these samples. But till now, we haven't been able to see this because all the samples are required to be printed as an original as they will be. So it requires kind of cooperation between manufacturer and the retailer and the seller. So giving a possibility, it's not going to be the same. Of course, we totally understand, and that's the reason behind this. But if you have something which interprets how it's going to look, let's say the first prototype or second sales samples, which can be printed digitally, that will reduce the impact of manufacturers to the environment. Plus, it will increase speed and offer to speed to the market. So on one side, we are talking about the robotics and digital and image recognitions from our perspective, from the manufacturer's perspective. And on the other side, we are talking about the physical samples which need to be sent and approved physically, while there are possibilities even printing them digitally or even showing them digitally. With these new gaming technologies like Unreal Engine and the simulation of the textures and of the different fields, which can be much easily done today, we haven't still reached these points of digitalization yet.
Okay, thank you. It kind of neatly brings us on to the next question, which is around hybrid. So hybrid screen digital promises the best of both worlds: low-cost white ink, special effects, and digital customization, and perfect full-color process. Where do you see this technology fitting into the value chain? Samir, I'm going to ask you to come in last on the last one, first on this one.
It's good that gives us a possibility to use the existing equipment, add a value to the digital print, or add digital to our needs. So still has its own problems. It's not like all the problems have been solved. We do have this type of equipment, but having the flow is not so easy. The ink that we are using, they are not 100% solved. They are not very user friendly. They need some kind of adaptation. Plus, on the other side, we need several screens to work with this. So we need, let's say, 3 whites, and then we need a top coat on top of that. So actually, we need about 4 screens. So why not adding 2 or 3 more screens and having this printed analog? That's the question which is coming from most of the time. So it's a kind of something which we are playing around. Paradox. Sometimes, if the order is shorter, then we prefer that one. going digital. And sometimes if the order is on higher volume, then we would go adding a couple of more screens on analog type, traditional type of printing.
Interesting. Thank you, Mark. You've touched a bit on that. You have hybrid capacity already. So what would be your input on this question?
I kind of echo with what Samir is talking about in a lot of regards, because well, first of all, Samir taught me a lot already. So I mean, I have to echo what he's saying. We share a lot of the same challenges, and we share a lot of the same vision. But I think we're still exploring. We're still, hybrid is nothing new, but we're still working to find new opportunities. As he brought up earlier, we see a lot of requests from the customer where they need it digitally printed, and we look at it and we say, why would you need that digitally printed? But as he mentioned, it could be from a sustainability standpoint, which is something that I also like to wave the flag of sustainability, and I think digital offers a lot of that. And even though it does require a top coat, and in some cases it may need 2 or 3 whites depending, but we're heavily invested in it. We're still finding new opportunities for it. Sometimes we use it. We see designs where 16, 17 screens, and we can minimize, and we can't print everything through CMYK. We all know that. But you can still print a lot of those colors and then augment with some spot colors or fluorescence where needed be. And again, as I said, we're still finding new opportunities, such as, and Samir's one of the best at printing high density. I mean, he's won numerous awards for his high density, and he even shared some secrets with me one day about some, and I cannot reveal those secrets, but it was amazing. But now we're able to do high density on the machine, and now we're printing the sides of the high density with the hybrid, so we can lift the hybrid head up, and then it sprays out, so we can actually print the side walls of the high density, and then cap that with another color. So I mean, we're still playing. It's almost like it's a tool, it's a toy. We're still finding new ways to work with it.
And I suppose that actually points to one of the key characteristics of best screen printing in this sector is the combination of technical understanding and creativity. Every year when we have the FESPA Awards, and I am in the privileged position of being part of the judging panel, and we see the work that comes in from garment decorators in this sector. Creativity is an incredible life force in the sector, and I think, as you say, I'm intrigued about this high density and the idea of graduating color down the sidewall of the high density. There's always so much to learn, and as you say, new areas to fit the process to a business opportunity. I was wondering about maybe if you're doing standard designs, but you want personalization, like a Disney shirt with a kid's name on a flag element of the design, whether there's the possibility there to have a batch run of production. So you might suck orders into the pipe for a week, and then do a batch production, and then do the versioning through that batch production and ship out, or whether consumers are just now expecting things at such a fast rate that it kind of precludes that opportunity. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think if you could build a program like that, they call that variable data or data on demand, to where you could work with kind of a common template, and then what you print over the top of that could just be, variable. It could be name, number, it could be different photos, it could be a lot of things, but you're working with the common template. And if they sold orders that way, for a couple hundred pieces, for us, it would make sense to put that up, run the common template on the base layer and then just run the variable data on top. So
Yeah.
again, that would come from the brand or a customer where they build a program like that, and you would, like you say, accumulate orders over the period of a couple of days or a week and then run that out. So it's a good opportunity.
And maybe one of the other things that you've, I think very much
Can
part
I
of
add
your
something there?
experience. Yeah, of course you can, Samir.
Yeah, just not to lose that, because about 10 years
please.
ago, we did a Nike t-shirts, for Paris Marathon. So there were 8,000 pieces, all numbered on the back. So during that time, we did not have a possibility of printing that digitally. So what we did is we printed numbers from 1 to 9, from 0 to 9, of course. And then we adjusted that and with a heat transfer. So
Okay.
it was a headache, of course, and doing is a headache. And then how should we box them? That was another headache, because they were willing to give them by number or from the single box or from the multiple boxes in the same time. So it was an interesting thing. I wanted to add that.
Thank you. And that will come on a bit later to the topic around, with embroidery, DTG, DTF, screen, where there are many and transfers, many processes. I'm going to. Oh, sorry, Ritis. Maybe you can give us a quick perspective on this yourself. I'm sorry, I was about to move ahead.
Really, Mark and Samir talked about. I mentioned the sustainability factor. So something to keep in mind for the future. It's just, I believe it's not anymore just a marketing tool that you talk about as an e-commerce brand or any brand. It's something people already expect from you. So you can make a case that digital DTG printing is better for environment versus maybe other printing techniques. But one of the things is also just generally on demand as it is. So if you're producing something in bulk and it appears in the stores, or probably some of those products will be thrown away. With on demand and online, everything what you basically purchase is already basically sold. So I can't use the term that we are generating no waste, but it's just less waste as it is. So something to keep in mind, and of course both parts, like both techniques, all techniques have some advantage for sure, but something to keep in mind, the sustainability factor.
I certainly think that the opportunities with digital imaging technologies do offer sustainability benefits, and certainly if you look at changes taking place in the roll textile with single pass inkjet printing, I think it's very disruptive. So yeah, it's a point well made. I'm going to move on, if you don't mind, to our next question, which is again, which touched on this issue of sustainability. So the question is: the rise in consumer demand for sustainable products increases the need for organic, fair trade, and ethically produced blank garments to print. Are your suppliers able to offer the volumes, sizes, and color ranges that you require to transform your offer in this manner? I don't know who to ask this one of first. I think I'm probably going to say, Ritis, you go first.
Yeah, that's a great question. I just talked about sustainability, and one of the factors is also product, how they're made. So I remember when I joined Printful 5 years ago, we discontinued some of the eco products, as we call, because there were some stock issues. And now the trend is coming back, and more people are thinking about they want to basically build an eco brand on, and one of those factors also product. And honestly, the main thing is a stock availability. So still, I know normal T-shirt, the stock levels is much better. And as we produce almost 1 million items every month, so that's an issue that as soon as we add a product, we need sustainable stock levels so that our suppliers can actually provide them. And that's, I believe, is the main issue. I'm not even talking about the colors. This is generally about the volume. And I believe in upcoming years it's going to change, but it's maybe a point to be more vertically integrated, something to actually start producing ourselves. So that would be really interesting.
Okay, cool. Samir, how about from you?
I see that the new Z generation is much more interested in sustainability than we were. We started with sustainability programs 20 years ago with a certain percentage of the organic cotton in our garments, but none of us was willing to pay an extra amount, extra dollar for the sustainable goods. Today, I see that shift, and the latest McKinsey report shows clearly that the new Z generation is much more aware of sustainability, and they want to impact, and they would pay an extra cost, which this brings. Availability on the market, yes, you can find. We are working with our partner works with more than 2 million pieces a month, so and all of that is sustainable. But when I mean sustainable, I think that also needs to be classified qualified and classified in. Is it cotton sustainable? Is it is the dye of the fabric sustainable? Is it print sustainable? So, and there are a lot of different options on the market. So BCI is one option. Organic cotton is another option. Recycling is another option. Having a percentage of recycled cotton inside the mixture is another option. So there are a lot of opportunities which we can offer. Plus, I want to emphasize this. The dyeing is the most critical part here, the fabric dyeing, and that's the most polluted industry in the world after the oil pollution. I'm very sensitive on this, and one of our, I'm working with these guys. They have patent, and the dyes that they're doing are 100% organic dyes. So that's a new option of this. It's the only thing to ask and to try to find what's the best available option for our needs.
That's a great answer, and I think it does point to the fact that we need qualification of what sustainable means. If we're buying a product, the holy grail is to get to a point where we can have carbon costing for all sorts of products in life, but I think that's really quite a challenge. Mark, I think with the volumes that you're producing, I wonder if there's enough organic cotton available in the world to meet your requirements. How do you view this situation?
Well, it is the number one topic at all brand level right now is sustainability, and as Samir pointed out, it means a lot of different things to different people. And I'm always the guy asking, how do we measure that? How are we measuring sustainability? And is there an index? We can talk about the garment, and I'm just echoing what Samir already talked about. So there's the BCI Cotton Initiative. There's the recycled cotton. There's the recycled polyester. There's making T-shirts from water bottles. But then you start to go, as he points out, going into the dye processes and the wastewater and the waste streams. So, we get asked. It used to be a couple times a year. Now we're being asked every month, what do you have for sustainable inks? And now there's bio-derived inks, there's biodegradable inks, there's inks, black inks that are made from algae. I mean, there's a lot more coming to the market. And once again, to echo Samir, I mean, even my son reminds me about how we need to reuse something or how we don't need to throw that away. Or, I mean, he's telling the old man, because it's his planet, he's going to be the one running around. So these are the young kids that are really concerned with that. So it's a hot topic. It's almost every day now. Yeah, we have a whole department set up for sustainability. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We've got a couple more questions to get through, and time is becoming short. So we're going to have to go for slightly briefer answers, I'm afraid, from here, which is a shame because I could speak to you guys for hours. Most blank garments are manufactured in low-cost economies. How is your customer behaviour influencing the need for transparency and a move away from the lowest cost being the first objective? Rightis, would you like to give a response on this?
Yeah, I can start. Still, price, and I believe everyone else will agree, is still the number one factor. So our customers looking forward, and also me as a buyer is also checking that, and that's the first thing. So probably world could be moving to maybe to other countries, other, and they're looking for example, made in the USA garments, made in locally made. But it's not easy to make the switch at the moment because of the many factors: price and availability, stock, and stuff like that. So one thing we are doing, we want to be as transparent as possible. So making sure that we showcase where the garment is made. So what's the company and what's the process there, and basically list that on our product catalog on Printful website. So that's something we made. Launched a while ago, just to increase the transparency, because it's super challenging to actually, your suppliers and partners can say whatever they want for you to go to those countries, actually check and see if it's not just a paper. So that's, I believe, is the most challenging part. See that what's the in mind there, if they're not doing something illegal. So the main goal is to be transparent, whatever you actually know, and provide information. They can go to the website and see what's happening there. So that's everything's happening there legit. The factories are legit.
Yeah. Okay. Samir and Mark, I'm conscious we've actually got 2.5 minutes to go, and we actually have 3 questions, but I don't think we're going to get to them all. So I think the key on this one is transparency in supply chains. So do you have a brief answer, both of you, for this question, so we can at least cram one more in?
With the new technology, with the digital possibilities, and let's say blockchain technology, something like that, everything can be easily followed back until the root. So there can be a possibility of having that, and especially after the accident in Bangladesh at the Rana factory, everybody is more concerned about. We call it sustainability. Actually, that's another part of sustainability. So everyone is concerned of forced labor or something like that.
Human welfare. Mark, do you have a brief? Sorry, these are quite. They actually demand far longer responses. But do you have a little gem that you can throw in?
No, we try to balance everything. The brands continue to push on price, and they move production into different countries and things like that, and they move that around. But at the end of the day, they're very concerned about the operator's health and welfare and safety and everything else. So as we have operations in Vietnam and Cambodia as well as China, so I think, like you said, the key is the transparency and to be above the line and just continue to hold the quality of the people, the quality of the product.
Cool, thank you. So this is a question that I know we're all really looking forward to, and we're going to have to give our golden nugget, if you like, on it. It's with screen printing, DTG, embroidery, transfer printing, all providing specific solutions to the printed clothing sector. What considerations do you make before investing in new kit? So I suppose this is like the one word, the most important thing when considering buying new kit. What would your word of wisdom be? Mark.
ROI.
Okay. Samir.
Analyze your customer and solve one of their problems.
Okay, and Rightis.
Basically costs and actually demand, like what others says. ROI is really good. So costs and demand, basically the same thing.
All right. Gents, I'm afraid we're not going to get to our final question, which was about drop shipping and fulfillment business models. You have been absolute stars. If I'd been a better host, we'd have got the last question in. So apologies to our audience for my failing on that front. But really, it's full of very interesting answers. And I'm sure, like me, you're looking forward to hearing about product launches as the next couple of days unfold. And I'd like to just say a massive thank you to our panelists for joining us and supporting FESPA at this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Graham, for inviting.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.